Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Women of AIDC Community Dialogue. I am Bethany Dean, the Media and Communications Manager here at AIM and the staff liaison for this industry group. We are happy to have you all join us today for this exciting guest presentation, but before we get started, I'd like to quickly go over a few housekeeping notes. First, I wanted to highlight AIM's antitrust policy. It is the policy of AIM to conduct its operations in strict compliance with the antitrust laws. No AIM activity shall create even the appearance of a violation of the letter or spirit of the antitrust laws. And then next, our collaboration and work product policy. AIM committee meetings are held for the primary purpose of advancements in our industry, which necessarily involves development of work product intended solely for the public domain. AIM has developed this policy for the protection of its members who engage in this important collaborative effort. And then a few other housekeeping notes. All participants are muted upon entering the meeting, but we do want you to participate. If during the presentation you have a question, you can submit your question through the Q&A application at the bottom of the screen. Questions will be answered at the end of the presentation, and a recording of this session will be available in the coming days. And finally, wanted to review our industry group mission. We empower, connect, and advance women in AIDC by fostering leadership, innovation, and inclusion. Through networking, education, and advocacy, we create opportunities for women to thrive and drive meaningful impact in technology, business, and global supply chains. And with that, I will hand it over to AIM Asia President Anna Lau, who will be introducing today's guest speaker. Anna?
Right, thank you, Bethany, for the introduction and helping us to hold this seminar for especially the women in AIDC industry. So, hello everybody, this is Anna. I'm very happy to invite my best friend Lesley to join our conversation today. So, welcome, Lesley. Yeah, so first of all, maybe I give a little bit introduction to Lesley. So Lesley is a member of SML, the executive committee, and leads the product innovation, technology, and regional operations since joining in 10 years ago. So she has held multiple leadership roles, including the leading the RFID solution in APAC and overseeing the global marketing and sustainability teams. And now drive the product strategy, technology platforms, and IT while managing the Greater China region. So she's a graduate from the Boston University. So, okay, first of all, lastly, could you share a little bit about yourself and the SME group? Besides, I just give the background information. So, and what inspired you to enter the AIDC industry?
Sure.
So,
Hey,
would
Anna,
you like to
Anna,
share a little bit?
of,
Yeah,
cou-
thank you.
of course. Thank you, Anna, and thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate, and I'm very honored to be here. And thank you, Bethany and AIM Asia, for facilitating this. Well, while Anna did a very quick introduction about my roles, I found it quite funny because it's even to myself, I've taken on multiple roles in my nearly a decade of tenure at SML. And maybe I'll start off for some of the audience today to learn about SML and how it has become where we're at today. SML, we're currently globally present in 20 countries. We are end-to-end labels, including RFID solution provider for retailer brands primarily. I would start by dissecting the different phases of SML in the past, which will then get into why I got into the AIDC industry. The first phase, SML, has been around for 40 something years. The first phase, it was really in that scalability mode where we focus on manufacturing. So that was between 1985 until 1994. And between 1994 and in the early 2000, what we focused on was variable data. And we built our own order management system that processes all the variable data that's sent by the brand owners to the vendors and ourselves to process all the different physical labels, including woven, etc. The third phase that we entered was RFID, which we started to look into in 2008 until now. And since then, we are globally number 2 by volume in the apparel and footwear space. And of course, last year, we also went from a privately held business to now a PE-owned enterprise. And for myself, I joined SML in 2017. Back then, it was still a private business. And I hate to disappoint everyone how I got into AIDC. It was really by chance. I was part of the family that was when SML was a family business, so I literally just joined. And maybe for some of you here today, yes, as a woman who joined AIDC at the start, I spent the first 5 years learning about RFID. And I think whoever needs to learn about technology, it's really gender agnostic. So I would say that's how I really started to learn on the go about RFID. And in the first 5 years, that's when I was responsible for the APAC RFID solutions. So I think most of you on the call might know that last year we sold off the software arm Clarity, which has been the #1 market leader in RFID item level software. So back then I was on that team in Asia. And during that time, one or two of my initial exposure was first the China market, and second, it was the Japan market. When there's a billion item initiative started in Japan, we intended and also participated in penetration. But of course, I think market knows that at the end, it didn't really quite work out. And then in time, I then focused more on the China market. So that's how my interaction with AIDC really came about. That was I would say, phase one. I think my second phase now we've come really full circle because starting this January, I also picked up the product and technology division at the organization. So I really didn't, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say I didn't see that coming, but I'm really grateful with the foundation in RFID. Now at SML, we're looking into a future of sensor triggers, where we believe that it is going to be a fusion of, for it, be it NFC, RFID, 2D barcode, QR code, etc., coming together, and with the different substrate, which is what we have built ourselves on. It's the traditional labels parts. We see these two as a combination. In addition to that, the DPP comes in, which is a digital platform. We see all these three elements combined into what we believe, I guess I would say our organization will be headed to. So yeah, Anna, I kind of gave you more of a lengthy answer in how I got into AIDC. It's more like in two phases.
Right, thank you. So I can see your special in the early stage because I believe you are not from the technical or the background with AIDC. For you, it's not
Yeah.
easy to start. So for me, it's very obviously and very
You're
natural
an
to go in
expert.
because
Yes.
so for me, it's very easy. Yeah, this RFID for me is nothing. So but I can see as a woman and especially you need to handle a lot of stuff and then you need to try your good heart to learn how's the technology, what's the key point on what's the pinpoint about this technology, and you really need to pay a lot of effort to learn. So it's not easy. Yeah, but now I can see you are expert as well.
No,
Yeah, okay.
I would say it's a different lens or perspective. It's funny because I majored in public relations, part of communication back in college. And RFID
Mm,
in a way, it's a type or a form of communication. So it actually taught learning about RFID and how this whole ecosystem works actually has taught me about the way things or people communicate with each other, right? It comes down to, at the end of the
yeah.
day, it's the input of data to output of outcome.
Yeah. That's the
Yep.
actually the mechanism is the
Yeah.
similar things. Just the product they need to talk to them product. So it's the data communication. So
Yep.
no matter it's a human to human or data to machine or something else, yeah, the aim is the same, right?
Yep.
So you need to like if we have the system or we have the data, we want to know where is my product, where's it, but you cannot like tell at the tradition, maybe the people will ask, "Hey, this is my stuff." I ask, where's the product? Is this it? You have to find for me." But using the RFID is the same. We're just using the machine or the system to help you to identify where is your item or what's the detail. So I think it's also one of the communication like data exchange or something else. It's very
Hmm.
good that because the yeah, yeah. Okay. So, so we have some question to ask. So first of all, uh, we are talking about the data. So the AIDC generate the massive data, but
Hmm.
many retailer they may struggle to integrate it with the POS or planning systems. So where's the biggest integration pinpoint you still see in the industry right now?
Yeah. So starting 2 years ago, I also happened to start leading the organization's IT efforts. And I think even and using that as a background, right? I think within our organization, like many organizations, is a good example of how we see a lot of data silos and how much of data we've got as an organization, but are they being maximized for its value? Similar to on the retailer side, right? They already
Mm,
got huge amounts of data on across, to your point, POS, ERP, WMS, planning, e-commerce, etc.
mm,
Are they really turning those data into a very trusted, reliable operational decision? I think it depends on where the retailer is at. I think sometimes it's a question mark, especially for those who have not yet implemented item level RFID. Because as they
mm,
only sit on skill level, the first the first common use case that we think about consumer experience is finding what I would like at which particular store at the time I would like to get it. So
mm,
without that item level insight, retailers are unable to provide that. So I think what we're seeing the pain point in retailers, it's really sometimes their different systems might be showing different inventory truths. So it's lacking a single source of truth. And if their systems are not synchronized, their teams might not necessarily have a high confidence. At the end of the day, retailers are there to satisfy their consumers, right? So it's a chain of custody. I would say the key takeaway here is really when retailers would like visibility and when it lacks integration, it would then just generate a lot more dashboards, not effective
mm,
operational decision. So that's my take on how I think today retailers are operating with some sort of data silos, especially at the item level.
mm. Right. Okay. Yeah. I think there's a lot of same common issue that the retailer they sometimes my customer they also ask me, "Hey Anna, I really know RFID is very useful, but how I'm going to use it? Can you help
Mm,
to um set up the whole solution, including the uh not just only install the hardware, but help me to integrate all the traditional data into my system
mhm,
so I can use easily. So that's the gap in between because a lot of in our industry there's a lot of people selling the radar, selling the antenna, selling the tap. But for the customer side, they don't
mhm,
know even they don't they thought at the first beginning, they may feel this is very easy. I just need to get some machine, then the things is done. But in the background, when they try, it's not to, yeah, that's a big change the gap. So we have to have some company to involve, so to fill the gap, to help them to
Yeah,
integrate and to need to how to use this data to really use in your daily analysis and benefit your whole company growth or efficiency and so on.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was at RTS, the retail technology show in the UK last month, right? And I spoke with one of the vendors in POS world, who just won the Target bid in food, right? And they were saying that some retailers are starting to move into the trend of, hey, I just want to have one vendor that helps me
Mm.
do like POS and maybe RFID and e-commerce. I don't want to work with so many vendors. Why? It's
Yeah.
because of the data integration. While
Right.
that's true, on the other hand, there's a cybersecurity issue, right? You want to have
Yes.
firewall, set up strong enough so that whenever with MS example last year, whenever stuff hits the fan, you don't have a collateral damage. So I think it's like give and take. But bottom of it is I see the future of retailers, not just at the store to consumer level, but entire end-to-end supply chain. It will get to that level of item level data visibility because that's
Yeah.
how they would continue to service their consumers better.
Yeah, I think it's very important because right now a lot of company they are anxious to get in a lot of technology to help them.
Yep.
But for those like retailer or a lot of traditional companies, they are not the technology companies. They don't know how to really use this kinds of technology, especially how to
Mm-hmm.
integrate and how to use it. So I think the role like SML is very important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so may I move to the second question about the AI? Because right
Mm-hmm.
now the AI is very hot topics. So how do you see the genetic AI or LMM changing how the retailers add on AIDC data? For example, the automatic replenishment or the dynamic pricing
Mm-hmm.
or loss prevention alerts, something like that.
Yep. Um, I know before you guys joined the call, right? And we were just talking about Starbucks because you're
Yeah.
you're drinking your coffee from a
Yes.
Starbucks mug, right? And I
Yeah.
don't know if all of you have seen the recent Starbucks news. In short, they just scrapped their 9-month long AI inventory tool. And
Mm,
the gist of the reason is because that system routinely miscounted and mislabeled items like mixing soy milk versus almond milk, etc. And why I brought this example up, right? It's because I fundamentally believe that AI does not replace AIDC. What it
yeah.
does is it unlocks the value of AIDC data. Because AIDC essentially it's a data carrier. We do not, today at least, you and I are a physical human being. We're not
Mm,
living in a completely virtual world yet, where we still
yeah.
have the six senses, right? So I think
Yes,
what
right.
historically happened with retail operations was retailers, to my earlier point, they've had way too much excessive amount of data. And they didn't
Mm,
really have enough people to analyze it. They might have to have like entire BI team. So what
mm,
AI could replace is the BI team
yes,
because
right.
agentic AI could replace that just through their agents, right? Doing the work before the senior executives come into work to ask for reports. So I
Mm,
think what I mean by unlocks the value, if we translate that into use cases, that means, and you pointed it out, AI could do instead of push-pull model on replenishment, it's going to be a predictive model on replenishment, like on the shop floor between the backstock and the sales floor. And when there's exception management, it's going to all be automatic. It's not going
mm,
to ride on the variance between expected or actual in your product ledger. And you have automated shrinkage alerts or loss prevention. And last but not least, when it comes back to that item level RFID, it's the smarter inventory balancing. I mean, for us, we've been labels for 4 decades, right? And every year, I think like a lot of the similar players in the market, we always struggle with one item, which is forecast. It's a notable challenge on the brand side to provide suppliers as such very accurate forecasts. But then the fact that us as a supplier slash solution provider, we've got the LTM last 12 months at least, or even like going years back, we could run that predictive analysis into, hey, what is going to be the ordering trend like? So it doesn't just work for retailer. I think it works for their tier 1, tier 2 supplier. So that serves to end-to-end retail operations. So I think coming back to the retailer's front, right? What AIDC, a data carrier, does is it's able to tell us what has happened, like what events the chip, different like NFC or RFID has captured throughout the supply chain. And AI comes in, it helps you decide what to do next. So it's a complementary relationship, I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So like for no matter it's RFID or something in the AIDC technology. So without us, so the AI how to get the data. So you cannot say that use the
Exactly.
human. Yeah, where you get the data for
Yep.
analysis, right? So we help them to in the very efficient way and the very
Yeah.
quick way to get the data they want. So that's why we can
Yes.
help together. So integrate with AI is a must. Then yeah, I can say the AIDC and AI right now, they cannot separate. So
Yep.
we can, for our industry, we cannot say we just throw away the AI. But AI also have a lot for us, not to no matter to read the code or something else to improve the efficiency, but
Yep.
also for the data analysis. That's
Mm-hmm.
they two, I think, must be combined together.
Yep.
So right now you can see a lot of technology. I
Mm-hmm.
for my side, I really think this is must integrate all together. Then the whole industry can move and grow much faster. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So the third questions is about the sustainability. So with the growing scrutiny on the electronic waste and
Mm-hmm.
the single use of the tax, how should the industry evolve the AIDC hardware to align with the circular economy goals?
Yep. It's a very, very interesting question. I
Yeah.
Among my multitude of roles at SML, I also happen to chair our sustainability committee previously, and
Mm,
I helped us launch our first few ESG reports, right? And I personally am also quite passionate of this area, like what we do and its environmental impact or social impact. So having said that as a background and learning from the knowledge I built in that area, I really think when one talks about sustainability in this industry or in retail in general, it needs to be a very holistic, like a framework
mm,
level kind of discussion.
mm,
Um, why? Is because if we take RFID as an example, it takes software, hardware, the labels, and professional services to launch one RFID solution successfully. And so if we drill into the RFID tag, right? Yeah, it's got environmental impact, but so do if we look into overproduction, right? Markdowns, excess inventory, or even like returns and waste. What we should look at is not just a component level, holistic framework level. It's coming back to what I always like to start my teams thinking about. It's the pain point, right? It's RFID can actually reduce waste by improving the inventory accuracy, which everybody knows about now compared to like 9-10 years ago when we had to do education. So I think what AIDC is doing is how we have this conversation at a framework level in terms of like RFID. You can start from materials, one angle, recyclable material. And
Right.
in terms of the inlay, it's a lower environmental impact. Antenna design, when it's during the design phase, it can be designed in an optimized position so that I could increase the read rate. So, and because of these, then you unlock that use case, like the value of the use case of inventory accuracy. So what I'm trying to say is that we shouldn't look at only one segment or one component, but more like what the technology could deliver holistically end-to-end supply chain to reduce the waste. I think if you can reduce like garment or toys waste by having accurate inventory planning, then you won't overproduce in the first place. And that's something I actually have spoken about at a sustainability panel at JP Morgan last year. And I fundamentally believe in that. That is the foundation. So I would say the goal is not just to have sustainable tag, but it's to have a sustainable ecosystem where you have to think through from the moment you design all the way until whether you can drive down overproduction of unnecessary waste.
Yeah. I strongly support your statement because this is what we are doing for RFID or AIDC from the 50 years ago. So that's why we are driving our industry to using the RFID. Is the goal is to reduce our benefit of the whole system is to reduce the waste, to optimize what the industry is generate to prevent the waste. So you can compare not just like from the size of the like go to the go to the dustbin, for example, the easy comparison. So right, the tap or the waste. So you can it's very obviously right. So
Yep.
I still feel, of course, for the tap generate, of course, we can use the recyclable or maybe the paper tap or something like that. So for environmental friendly stuff. So this is the what we can do. But the main goal is to using the RFID is to minimize or to optimize a lot of things. So it's can actually is helping the industry and helping the society. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I see the audience they have some question, but we will have the question Q&A section at the end of this dialogue. So yeah, just be patient a little bit. So we still have two more questions to go. So another one is like for the mid-sized retailers. So if a retailer has no AIDC beyond barcode today, what's the first step, or you could recommend to get the quick wins without a huge capital investments?
Yep. I remember a few years ago when I first started working on RFID in China market, and we got a few RFP bids, and those were, a few of the mid-sized retailers as well. And back then, I'm talking about like 2017 to 2020, around that time. Back then, the whole world, including China, we were still witnessing the adoption of some of the leading brands, including fast fashion brands. And at the time when we were getting into the bid, the founders or like the C-suite, they would always be so fascinated about, hey, I really would love to launch item level RFID right now. Like how do I do that? And the first thing we would say to them was, hey, what's the issue that you're dealing with? What's the issue at the organization that was hurting the most? I think it depends on the mid-sized retailer. Sometimes it could be like, I've got too many labor in my vendor, like garment vendor factories. Or the other would be like, hey, I want end-to-end visibility, right? And the reason why we asked him this question was because, hey, let's not get so overly excited about all the latest and greatest technology, right? At the time, again, the market was learning about the greatness of item level RFID. We wanted to bring them back into what is the problem that you're solving. So I think my advice for like mid-size, right? Because mid-size, they might not have as much bandwidth or resource to investigate, right? What would be the use case, or they might not have the time to afford like a lengthy pilot, etc. So I would always advise them to start with what is the operational problem that you're meeting that is hurting the most, and then design it from there. And that's the first stage. And the second stage is then the retailers start to be very excited about, hey, I've got like problem A, inventory accuracy, but my finance seems to have very accurate information about our inventory. And the second is like, hey, I want to understand what my consumer is buying or what they're interested in. So, and then they will have like multiple use cases all of a sudden. And the second step that I would advise the retailer to do is focus on one first, because you have to be focused on one primary use case, which at the end of that exercise, it's always almost very common. It would be the inventory part. Then they would be able to design that pilot to map out the expected ROI that they would like. So that the second stage is to proof of concept, right? So I think my advice is really on these two areas. Don't implement RFID or any technology because it seems very innovative. It makes my brand look cool. I need to be part of the game, right? You only implement it because certain part of your business process seems to be broken and you need accurate item level data to fix it.
Yeah, I agreed. And then I could advise actually for those mid-level, especially they never even have the basic knowledge about the AIDC. So I would recommend they may just pick the started kit. So to see whether like the first pinpoint is maybe their inventory. So they maybe just start from the small scale and then to see whether this technology can really help them to improve. And then they can gradually add on a lot of stuff like the robotic or like the AI analysis or other more greater system step by step. So I think this maybe is the approach they need to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so the last question. I know you are very young. You are much younger than me, but you are already in our industry for 10 years. So the advice for our younger self or younger generation. So looking back, what's the one belief about the AIDC technology you have 5 years ago that you have completely changed your mind on?
Um, Actually, I'm not sure whether this answer it's counterintuitive because we're in this is called a Women in AIDC webinar,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I think
Yeah.
my earlier belief was that, hey, we need better technology, then it automatically would drive adoption, right? If the technology works, if it's good, people will adopt.
Mm.
It will go skyrocket. That was my knowledge in my first 2-3 years in RFID back in 2017. And then as I went to more of the NRF, went to be part of more like brand facing customer discussions, I realized You know what? In order to successfully realize the value of AIDC, including RFID, it really
Mhm.
depends more on people and the
Of
process
course.
alignment
Yes.
than the actual hardware, including software or tag itself. Because a lot of times, if we break down to the specifics, right, for each RFP, you need the team to write it. Yes, with AI's help, you could, but you need the team to write it. Do an RFP, you receive all these bids, you need to communicate with each vendors, and then you need to report back to your senior leaders to get approval on the budget, etc. So
Mm.
it's not really about a technology conversation. It's about what I'm presenting to my boss today, is it worth the investment? So you can see across the industry, there's been so many examples in at least the last 10 years. Our customers who have successfully rolled out RFID within their respective brands, most of them either get promoted or they might switch to another brand to do the same all over again.
Mm.
What does that say, right? Again, coming back to, I think it comes down to my change of belief is it's really a people problem or process problem, if you may. So that's one advice, because back then I believe, hey, we've got great stuff, like people would just use it, right? But no, it takes a
Mm.
lot of convincing to pitch.
Mm.
So at the end of the day, I think to sum it up, right? I think my advice to my younger self on this belief of AIDC technology was, I think technology transformation, it's ultimately a people transformation challenge. Whether the person in position, do you believe or do you see evidence that it would work? So that's my take on it, having seen so many successful or even not so successful RFID rollouts.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you for the sharing. So, yeah. So, okay. So it's for today's my question. So I think there's a couple of questions from the registration side. So maybe we can start our Q&A section. So, how to see? Okay. The first one, from the registration side, so what actionable career advice can you provide, including tips on mentorship, sponsorship, and build a supportive professional network? Maybe this is from the student.
Yeah, no, thank you for the question.
Yeah.
Um, I I've been working for, I'll say 12 years now. And of course,
Okay.
I actually started my first job when I was 13, 14 as a library page. So all the years through school, I took internship, etc.
Mm.
So yeah, I appreciate the question, because usually I ask people for advice who have had like 30 years of experience.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Um, I would say this question comes in two part, right? One is on mentorship, sponsorship. The other is like building a good network. I think first
Mm.
is, don't be afraid to learn as much as you can. When I first joined in 2017, back then before SML, I was an advertising executive. I was in
Mm.
advertising, I was in branding.
Yeah, yeah, right.
It really didn't have anything to do with AIDC.
Mm.
And I really put in the time to learn on the go. Back then, AI wasn't out yet. I couldn't ask ChatGPT, I couldn't ask like Gemini or any AI. It was more like Google was my best friend.
Mm.
And so
Right.
on that note is, even if you're interested in one topic, don't be afraid to branch out to the associated topics, because you might be surprised. Because back then I didn't learn about just the difference in inlay models, like the manufacturing process, design process of an inlay antenna. What I learned was also the business side of things. And in parallel, back then when I helped the whole organization redo what you're seeing today, the new logo or new website, when I had to put together all the content, I learned about, oh, that's really what differentiates SML in the market. And all of these together, they give you a holistic view. So my advice is don't be afraid to learn about the depth and breadth of topics. That's one. Second is, how would you build a supportive professional network? I really believe in trust is earned, it's built over time, little by success and evidence. And one, I would say throughout the years, I've done quite a number of cold call or like messages to strangers on LinkedIn. Like, hey, would you like to grab a coffee? Would you like to take a call? I'm interested to learn. You will be surprised to find out how many people are willing to give you the time to share with you their experience. And to your surprise, one would actually lead to another. I think Anna, how we met was a great example. It was from Florence, right, who has been with SML for a long time. She introduced us, and then we just clicked, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
and it was because I learned a lot from Florence at the time. Like, she's very knowledgeable on RFID as well, and then she introduced me to you. So I think to sum up there is, when you combine with the knowledge you learn by yourself, you show a genuine curiosity, one professional contact would lead to another. And over time, you'll be a very supportive one. I think the third thing to add here is, don't ignore your personal development, your personal growth. Because I believe in order to have a very healthy professional growth, you have to have a very good, emotionally resilient character for you to survive through different situations. And how does that connect to support the network, right? You don't have to blindly just continue to build different professional contacts, but through that journey, build rapport and build some deep, meaningful relationships in the professional network as well. Because what you're struggling, the other person might have struggled or might be struggling. So find where you belong, I would say. Yep.
Great. So I have another suggestion as well. So for those interest to join our industry, no matter who are you, or you're not yet joined the company or looking for career, so welcome to join AIMAsia. We will fee for you.
Yes, and
yeah,
no, thanks,
because
Anna.
we are the non-profit organization, and we are willing to teach the young generation. So you see our platform, we have especially the board of directors. They have a very great knowledge about this industry from different country in Asia and different. So like for this year, we have our annual meeting in Malaysia. So we are going to have at least two workshops. So one is the DPP. You just mentioned right now DPP is very important. So we are generating one of the Asia platform for DPP. So we will provide the workshop for who are interested about the Asia DPP. So we have a professional people to talk about this topic, and then we have a group of people who interested about this one to discuss. So I think this is one of the resources we can provide. So like we have another workshop is about the EMC issue for the RFID. Like, because why we create this work group, because like when the people doing the implementation of the RFID system, they may face a lot of issue, like technically or ideally, the reader is perfect, the antenna is perfect, the tap is also no problem. Why they all combine together in the big area? So why they cause why suddenly they have some issue about the operation, or maybe why here cannot read the tab. Suddenly. So because there's the EMC issue, maybe interference between the reader or the config. So that's why this is another technical issue that people when implement the RFID they may face. That's why we have our board of director they leading another group for this EMC topic. Yeah, so something like that. So in Asia we are catching a lot of different that's because when the members of the company they face a lot of the issue. That's why from the non-profit organization point of view we would like to adjust this one and then to help the industry to move on. Yeah, so that's why we have such work groups. Yeah, so welcome for the people to join us in October in Malaysia in KL. Yeah. Okay, so let me see the second questions. What strategies can I use to innovate and stay ahead of the competition? So I'm not
Another,
very, yeah.
another interesting question.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll share about like what we do at our organization. I would say one is actually like I would echo what you're saying, Anna, is be part of these conversations. Like AIM Asia is a great community, right? And be part of these work groups, be part of these conversations so you can understand what others are doing. When you've got sufficient intel, it will help you think better in terms of first, do I want to leapfrog? Second, where can I leapfrog to stay ahead of the curve? So I think that's one, is to know what's out there already. I think second is to be able to really study the trend of consumers. And that's just for our industry in retail, right? Because if we wanna know better where our customers are going, we have to understand the customers of our customers, in this case, consumers. And everyone on the call today, we are consumers ourselves. So if we understand the logic and the basic of that, where maybe I make it sound very big, right? Like the whole humankind, where are we going? Then we can eventually come back to the basic, to the drawing board, like Uber. What they solved is not rocket science, in my opinion. What they solved the problem was crowdsourcing. People having difficulty getting cabs or getting a car from point A to point B. So I think to innovate, it's not to use only the latest, greatest technology. Technologies is only a tool or means to an end. Coming back to the drawing board is what fundamental issue are you trying to solve? So I think these two would actually are my tools to use to innovate as I now run the product technology division.
Yeah, totally agree with you. The technology is to solve the problem, but not just because we want this technology. So I totally okay. So we still have so can I invite Mohan to ask the question?
Yeah, it's very interesting to hearing your both conversation about this RFID and all AIDC and all other things. So I've been in this industry since the last 30 years and I roam around the globe and done so many projects and everything. So now I'm just residing in Singapore, having some running my own show on education or educating, all the young ones to come into this industry. So having said that, I always looking for a platform where I can just, part on my expertise, my, all these experiences with the younger ones. So I've been with, a couple of different partners in Singapore as well, with Sato and other Intermac and Honeywell and all other these kind of people. So in Middle East, I've done a couple of projects as well. So the the world is changing very fast.
Mm-hmm.
Although the things we are talking about from AI and all those things, generative AI and all those kind of a thing, these are the tools which are more condensed and more in terms of usability, the more information are giving to us to to change and to progress ninefold of the progress we are doing previously in 10 years back or 5 years back.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I just, you know, uh, give my expertise or my all I've learned and all these things into the platform where can everybody can easily understand whether this industry or this domain is good for them or not. You basically, before mentoring somebody, you need to analyze all of the, the readiness of that person, whether how ready they are in terms of uh, get into this industry and providing a solution. We, as you have said, that we are cannot identify which company providing what kind of a solution rather than moving boxes and a set of solution to everybody. And in the industry we are talking about, there are different problems, different scenarios, different possibilities to handle and then provide a proper solution to them. So my question, or should I say that my um, requirement is that how to join the platform in the sense to provide the expertise, whether we can do and be the part of AIM Global to just provide the expertise with reference to the project I've done, the seminar I provided with the lots of knowledge and everything. What should be the main focal point apart from the companies as like your Lesley you are doing? They are not that much of the buzzword around. Everybody wants to get in and follow the patron, but nobody would just come up with the idea how to part the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Am I
Yeah,
sounds
Mohammed,
sensible?
I understand your question. I think I'll boil this down, right? I think essentially what you're asking is that you've been in the industry for like 30 plus years. You've got a lot of knowledge accumulated over the
Mm.
years through through working at different players, companies, right? And also now
Yeah.
you're on your own, etc. And you see that there's a disconnect in the industry where everyone keeps their own knowledge and experience pretty much like
Mm.
to yourself unless you're in like a community where you can talk about it. But whether
Yeah.
you're asking essentially whether there is a centralized platform where
Mhm.
these knowledge are being consolidated so that for a new person coming to AIDC, you don't have to necessarily start from scratch, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think
Mm.
um I would say my experience with AIM Asia, not just because I'm on this call today as a guest speaker, right? I think in the last few years, when Anna during COVID, everyone was like, hey, we're dealing with lockdown. All she did was being very courageous and starting the AIM Asia chapter. And I think it's because, and correct me if I'm wrong, Anna, like you see a gap, fundamental gap in Asia because there are a number of organizations in the US and Europe that are already in our AIDC or RFID equivalent space, right?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
with us, I believe most of us on the call here would be in Asia. Unless you're in Europe, I would be really appreciated and surprised if you're in North America because it would be like early in the morning, so which is very unlikely. Anyway, so I think what Anna has done with AIM Asia is to provide that at least in Asia. Of course, Asia chapter is part of the AIM Global, right? So I think
Mm.
when Anna asked me to join as a speaker today, I was like, sure, I would definitely do it. And yes, the topic is women in AIDC, but similarly to your point, Mohammed, it could be X in AIDC, right? Like in
Mhm.
different field, different parts of the supply chain. But the
Mhm.
logic is the same, is I think we need to start little by little having more of these communities to get together, to connect with one another, so that we could help whoever along the journey to be more knowledgeable about the experience we have accumulated. So yeah, in short, not necessarily a digital centralized platform, right? Because I think today we could all just talk into like AI through an audio and then it will build a digital platform. But I think it's more about the physical connection where we can share. And I think this is a good place to start when we're in Asia with AIM Asia. Yep.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, Anna,
So
go ahead.
yeah, especially you are in Singapore, so maybe you can next time you can come to my office so we can discuss in detail because we have the idea to provide some educational workshop to the especially for the young generation. They are interested about our industry, or maybe some user they are interested about our technology. They would like to know or like to learn because I know you are very experienced in this industry, so I think you could be a very
Yeah.
yeah, a trainer for them. Or they can, yeah, we can discuss about that. Why not?
So you see when the times come when you realize that you are now full of, so many good things and a bad thing as well, but you need to share all those knowledge. You need to part all the knowledge for all those who are struggling or who are seeing that is not the right path for them to get into this, industry. So as Lesley, as you said that about the current Starbucks situation of not using an AI to get an inventory like that. So these are the solution which
Mm-hmm.
has some sort of, what I imagine is that there must be a fundamental organization who has a list of solution embedded there, and when the people wants to approach, they just want to be guided that okay, these are the solution have been used by this and this industry, and then they easily can get to that end solution for their own self. Okay, this is the repeating thing, or if some in industry of pharmaceutical have been using this solution, so maybe the same solution has been used in or work in progress, or maybe in warehouse automation, or maybe in any other kind of management and a different kind of a solution. So having said that, AIM Global, as Anna, you have is very happy to meet you on this video session that you are representing the Singapore chapter or an Asian chapter. So we need to develop all these things, and there are a lot of potential in the market, a lot of and noise in the sense that the people who just want to get a more optimized solution, but they are reluctant to move forward because there's not much knowledge available, or not much of the solution available for their specific problem and specific needs. So these are the things, and definitely I'm happy to just coordinate with you later on, as I'm in Singapore. There's not a difficult thing to do so, and we might just share my thoughts and my ideas to improvise or integrate with AIM Global Singapore chapter or Asia chapter. So that's a good thing, definitely.
Yeah. Especially right now we have some of the company or partners. They are, even though it's the SI, they just started the SI for the RFID companies. So I can see they still, from the experience or technology point of view, they
Mhm.
still need a lot of guidance. So
Correct.
we always welcome the professionals from our RFID or AIDC industry, the
Mhm.
professional to join us. So sometimes we can recommend them to the company to help to solve the issue. So this is one of the value of our platform. So yeah, maybe we can just we seldom do the marketing for for the professional to join us, but in our platform already have the IEEE fellows and a lot of professors. So we always welcome the professional from the industry, or maybe some retirement people. They accumulate a lot of experience. They can help the young generation or the new companies to give them the advice or give them the training course. Yeah. So let's talk about that later. Yeah. So okay. So our time is running up. So maybe one more questions from Wallen. The last question.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Anna, and thanks for the opportunity to ask a question. And Lesley, nice meeting you here on the RFID
Nice to meet
industry
you.
platform. Yeah. So let me introduce myself. My name is Warren Shi, and I'm pretty much working in the EMS industry, like Jabil, Flex, Scholastic as well. And I worked for some of the product company as well. One of the things that is, I was fortunate to engage in the last 20 years is, I worked on a lot of the consumer technology products as well. And fortunately, RFID is one of the things that, I heavily involved as well. Like I managed the Amazon warehouse automation projects as well. So I know that, we are running out of time. So just, I think the question I'm going to focus a little bit is in the context of the RFID technology roadmap, given all the achievements SML has achieved, how can SML really stay ahead of the innovation, drive seamless integration across the ecosystem, and also deliver the differentiated values to customers and then to solve their pain points? Either it's going to be, inventory accuracy or some of the integration problems, regulatory compliance, automation, replenishment as well. So how, I mean, to make this short, what is SML's strategy to stay ahead in the next 10 years from a technology and integration perspective? Really much appreciate your insight on that, Lesley. Thank you.
Of course. No, I really appreciate that question. Thanks, Warren. I was thinking within the next 5 to 10 years, right? And as I said earlier in the call, what we believe in is sensor of technology, sensor fusion, if you may. RFID or item level RFID has been one of the most cost-effective and widely adopted technologies in retail, but we don't believe that's it. We believe that it's going to be a combination of technologies such as RFID, NFC, etc., in order to work. Why? Is because we see that right now today, if we look into 10 years ago, RFID was predominantly printed on a sticker, and then it got embedded into a hand tag. I'm just referring to apparel and footwear retail. And in the last 2 years, what we're seeing is it's now into woven label. And with DPP coming out, care label, which have to last through wash cycles at least like 30 to 50 times. What I'm saying is that I think with DPP coming out, what we're seeing is like the combination of, for example, printed QR code with item level RFID that can both sustain that wash cycle. That's one layer in terms of technology. The second is where we're headed is not just technology, but more so on material, on different form factor in terms of innovation. Because again, like I said earlier, we're still not in a virtual world. We're in a digital world where the garments or the shoes, everything we buy, they are physically present. We need to add a form of identification to them. So we need to innovate on the material side of things to make it more eco-friendly, to make it more cost-effective. So that's a second layer. The third layer we're seeing in the next 5 to 10 years is definitely data interconnectivity. And that is something, it works in combination or complementary to RFID. It comes back and we see that real life today, or in the next 5 years, it's going to be wider and massive adoption. In the last 10 years, retailers have been very focused on the store level. And when they first do pilot or I study, they would start at the store level. But in these 2 years, we're seeing a huge increase in factory solution in supply chain. Today, SML, we work with tens of thousands of garment vendors. And in the next 5 to 10 years, we're seeing all of that from the moment the brand gives us the skill level data all the way to how ordering is done. Everything is going to be interconnected. So these are the 3 areas that we believe in, and we are going into at a very good pace, I would say. I hope that answers your question, Warren.
Yeah, thank you, Lesley. I think that you do, and I believe that when I look at the great achievements SML has achieved, and also given the technology disruption we are seeing along the way, especially the last 5 years, things could change very, very quickly. So you did mention that SML really, the way I hear is that have the strategy, have the technology roadmap to really look at the different areas to making sure that the SML can really be the leader in terms of innovation, and also the most importantly to solve the customer pain points in a holistic way. I think yeah, I will looking forward to having the discussion, Anna, as well about the FID. I think the way I'm looking at the RFID right now, I mean, it's a huge market right now in a different area, retail, grocery, in a different areas as well. So it's very, very, very potential. So I really appreciate it, and Lesley, for the time, and I'm looking forward maybe into attending one of the panel discussions as well, somewhere if the time allows in Singapore or in Malaysia as well. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so this is at the end of our seminar. So last but not least, thank you so much for Lesley to sharing a lot of valuable
No, it's
advice
an
and then
honor.
your
Yep.
experience to
Yeah.
us. And then we really appreciate for your time. And then yeah, next month we do invite another beautiful ladies, the young lady, to share with us about the EMC sectors, how they treat in our industry, like in RFID or something else. So yeah, so
Yeah.
we
So
look for the next one. Yeah.
great. I want to thank you, Anna, for inviting me again. Thank you, AIM Asia and AIM Global, for organizing this, and thank you for all the audience who stay on today and join. Happy Friday to you all.
Yeah. Happy Friday and happy weekend.
Cheers.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
Thank
much.
you.
Have a
Bye
nice
Bye.
weekend.
bye.